I've got the frame now in primer, and so I got a little bit of work done, but the weather is still not good for painting. We got a warm day today, but I think I'm going to have to wait for a little more time when I can work on stuff, because this warm weather is going to be over tomorrow, and it's going to be pretty cold. So that's about all I can do on the Puch for right now. I've got some other things I'll work on. I have a little bit of a problem here since it's too cold outside to paint, and it's going to be pretty cool this week. I got to find things to do inside, and I've selected a project to work on, which people probably think I'm crazy, but I think it's serious enough that I need to do something about it. And that is this speedometer drive. This is the old junkyard engine I salvaged out of the junkyard here I'm using, but this is to show you how this speedometer drive works. This fits down in a hole here in the back, and this cutaway here, there's a bolt goes through there that locks it so it can't come in, or move in and out rather, with the bolt on there. And this engages a gear inside there, which if you look at my engine rebuild videos, I kind of show you what drives that in there. But the problem is that when this is in there and you wash the bike or something like that, water can get in there. So they had a boot like this on there. You can see the blue paint on it. And to get it off there, it's kind of age hardened. It's a little stiff now. I'm sure it was more flexible than that maybe when it was new, but it's held up pretty well since 1955. I cut it to get it off there, but there's no way you could pull the speedometer drive cable through the frame basically without getting this rubber boot off there. So I cut it to get it off there, and didn't worry about it too much. But when I see how this works, the drive down inside that hole turns, and the only thought I had other than trying to fix that boot was when you put that down in there, I could maybe seal this with some paraffin wax or something like that, melt it and put in there, which would seal it so that water doesn't run down this cable, which it comes out of the frame. It runs inside the frame of the motorcycle, but any water to car wash or washing a bike or anything is going to run down inside that speedometer drive, and I don't want that to happen, because it's going to end up getting water inside the transmission of this thing. So, but then I decided if I was going to do that, I'd have to put some oil or something down in there, because I don't want the wax to mess up the drive. Otherwise I'd have to get that apart and clean all that out of there. But I thought I could put oil down in there and put wax or paraffin in there, and that would seal it so water couldn't get in. But then I got to thinking, I don't have anything else to do, and it might be a good time for a project like this. So I think I'll just make a mold and make this rubber boot. It might be that you could buy the boot. I didn't even bother to look, because I can probably make the mold as fast as I could probably find one, and before it would ever get here or anything like that. So I'm just looking for something to do. I guess it's a project, because the weather isn't really good to fiddle with this much. So I've cut it, as I said. I've got an idea of the cross section thickness of the rubber. That's one of the first things I got to do to make a rubber part. And then I have found this out in my junk out there. This is actually the top to another mold. It needed repair. This is the rubber pot that pushed the rubber into the mold, and apparently it was machined out of one piece of aluminum. But I just put some screw holes, drilled and tapped screw holes on there, and found another block to put on there. And I'm going to salvage this piece of aluminum. I'll put it in the saw over there and cut it off till I get a block that's screwed together, which is always a first step when I make a rubber mold. And after I get to looking at it, I think I can maybe make 2 cavities of this thing, one facing this way and one facing that way, and I can probably make these things 2 at a time. I only need one, but probably the other bike needs one too, so I'm probably going to need 2 of these things. But anyways, I decided that I will make a mold to make those things myself, and that's what I'm going to do today. So, and that explains why I'm doing it. Mostly just for relaxation and because I think it's a good way to fix it. What I figure to do with this now is I've drawn 2 lines. This is the center line of my blocks here, and I'll put one of these things on this side like that, and the other one on this side like that. This X marks the center of the block, so I'll put my pot for injecting the rubber will go right there, which will theoretically I should be able to put a screw hole in to transfer rubber into the cavities that way. And the cavities are going to go in here where these 2 blocks are put together. I just brought my center line around here, so I'm going to have to bore a hole in here and one in here and make 2 mandrels. One mandrel will go in from one side, one will go in from the other side. And that way you should be able to pull this part off. And of course, like always, the first thing you want to start making a mold, you got to bolt the blocks together. So there's my bolt holes where I bolted it here on the corners and put my pins in. That's always the first step. I drilled these holes. They haven't been reamed yet, but the reamer will follow this drilled hole no problem. And you drill them a 64th undersize for whatever dowel pin you're going to put in there. You'll notice this one is bigger than this one, and that's so that it can't be put together backwards on account of the press operators aren't too bright and they're not real careful, so you want to make it as idiot proof as possible so they can't assemble it with the thing facing the wrong way, because they'll run that press down on it and smash the mold. So that's the purpose of that. But that's the plan right now. And you can see it on there. Got the holes right on my center line where this other lower block's going to come off there, and same way on the other side, they came out just perfectly on that line. But you got to make sure I center drilled and put a good punch mark. I put a nice punch mark on it. That's the most important thing. If you got a prick punch mark, then your drill should follow within about 5-10 thousandths. You'll have that hole on location just right. So that's it. So now it's to bore one side in one way and bore the other way, and then I'll have to have 2 mandrels I'll have to make.